much. Cool, because what I'm going to talk about is definitely controversial. And that's why the first slide is why me, because why should you hear like what I have to say? I'm going to say AI will take all your jobs tomorrow, India is in a very bad shape. Or I'll say, no, nothing is going to happen, we are going great. Why should you, or anyone for that matter, listen to me? And that's a question I ask myself. See, I think if we draw a Venn diagram, I would be one of those few people who have done three things. So, first is I have seen a lot of code at scale. I have worked at Microsoft. If you're using any of Microsoft products, first of all, I'm sorry about that. But if you are, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, if you're using any of that, if you're using the commenting feature, that's my code, my actual code you are running on your system. So I know what's the difference between toy apps, enterprise apps. I know what's real world complexity of these big, huge code bases have. Okay, so there are many, like at least 1 million developers who have seen this. But I have also worked extensively in AI when I was at Cisco. That time it was about CNN, RNN, all that stuff. So did that. I am not an expert, but I understand what AI is. I know what most programmers, full-day programmers might not know. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is what AI is trying to do, I am trying to do as well for living. It's trying to train a supercomputer to do coding. I feel Indians or students are supercomputers already, and I teach them how to code from zero, build real developers. In my 5 years career as a teacher, I've got 1,000 plus students into coding jobs from zero to hero. So if you draw this diagram, thank you. If you draw this diagram, there would be few people who would be sitting at the center of it, and I think that's why you should hear me out at least with some questions in mind. What's the current state of AI? I am it sounds very nice, CEO, and ex-Microsoft and all of that, but I code a lot in my startup, and I use AI a lot to code, right? Extensively, so much so that I have only one more developer, junior developer, my own student who I hired, and that's all, and we write a lot of code. So I know what's the current state of AI is. Right now it is trained on next token prediction. I think I don't need to cover this. But it doesn't know what the code will do. It is basically trying to predict the right token, can't understand how things will work. And that's why when you are doing these toy apps, right? I created Splitwise, people go ballistic on Twitter, oh my God, coding is over. Because I can do now that triangle which is triangling. It can do really good scripts. So someone says, I just downloaded all my data from YouTube and now I can do all of that. So, coding is over. So non-coders, I see they are losing their shit all the time. And generally, these are the guys who are very vocal on Twitter. When they say so much about what AI can do, yes, I use AI, but I know what its limitations are, at least of today. Is it that good? I don't think so, not really. And the moment the code grows a little bit and, decent, I'm saying 10,000, 50,000 lines, it just starts breaking all over the place. So much so that now I have this thing that I read any code which AI is writing before accepting it because I know I'll have to be the one debugging it after 10 minutes or maybe 10 days. It's just that it gets you off the ramp very easy, but after some time you have to pay the piper. And that's why it's not great right now. It needs a lot of manual intervention. Wow, this timer is... My God, this countdown timer, it's making me so nervous. So are we safe? Yeah, I mean, come on. If you are a good coder, are you safe? I think not really. And I'm sure somewhere in the world, someone has thought about what I'm going to say. or someone will figure it out. But still, I keep thinking about, as I said, from my AI background, I get into it, and from coding at scale, what is the future of coding in AI? And I'm sure someone would figure it out. Right now, I don't see any research paper on this, but 5 years from now, here is what I'm saying. Current AI models are text models. It works on next word prediction. It does token-based learning, and it is built for languages, not for coding. Right? Coding is a different world. But we are right now, even right now, we are doing the right kind of training, but on the wrong kind of data. Sorry. So I missed a slide. So what it can do is, in programming, we can break code into structured pieces. And we have seen this in image training, right? So image training works on masked pieces. So you mask something, and then you make the model predict it, and then it learns. We are not doing that for code, but code is also masked. You can mask it at a functional level, at a loop level, at a class level, at a file level, and make the AI predict what it should be because of the API it is talking to. So if you are writing some code in the file, you are basically importing some functions of that code from that file into a different file. So AI should be able to predict what are the things this file needs to do, or this class needs to do, or this loop needs to do, or this function needs to do, so that everything fits into the larger picture. And that's how we are training the image models today, but not the programming models today. But why? So RL tells us very clearly, clear rewards equals to better learning. I think we are all caught up on what DeepSeek did. And AI finds the optimal paths. But the good thing about programming is it has built-in rewards, right? If from today we change to AST instead of text, AST is, by the way, abstract syntax tree. So AST is how program is understood by the compiler. AST is the real language of the code. And if we move to that and start training on that, I think in 5 years or whatever time, I don't know, I'm not that person who says 36 months we will have AGI, I don't know. But this is solvable. So instead of predicting tokens, we predict blocks, and we train on passing tests. This is again how programming happens everywhere, TDD, test-driven development. So if someone picks this up, does this will train AI much better on coding, and whatever problems I have today with AI coding for me might go away. Tests as training, train on smaller data sets, unit test first, then do integration test, then do end-to-end tests, and optimize your RL path for this. Someone is going to do it, mark my words. Because this is how real programmers work, this is how code is written at scale. And programming is rewards all the way. You get linter feedback, you get compiler feedback, you get test feedback. So rewards are built at every level of the code, every line of the code, every block of the code. Says that that's how we should train the models. Why not now? So if one line of code is, say, 10 tokens, in AST it would be 100 plus tokens. So it's harder, it needs more compute to train. Compiling and running everything every time will need more compute to train. Needs isolated environment so that when you are training, you don't just RM minus RF everything. So not now, not happening. But come on, we all have Stargate and whatnot. So compute is coming. We are not safe. Humanity is building it. It's just a matter of time. We'll be there. So 5 years down the line, I feel the problems which current AI coding has will go away. So does that mean we are over? No, I think AI will create more jobs. And why I think that is because the factory floor. So I don't know how many of you know about how factories work here. We are all from very IT crowd, right? But in a factory, say 10 really good mechanical engineers and electrical engineers set up a factory, and then hundreds of people do the daily work. They take care of the machines, they take care of the output, they make sure that the belt is functioning, things are moving. So, and today in a modern factory, all the heavy lifting is being done by the machines, right? All the heavy lifting is being done by the machines, but the handlers keep it running. I was looking at Twitter again, and there was this term which came up, which is very derogatory if you take it that way. So don't, it's not my term. I'm not coining it. I liked it. I'm just saying it. It's called code coolie. People who are code coolie, I think it explains itself. So I think that's where most of the heavy lifting will go. And my God, things I want to say. In India, we think of our country in two different sections only. Either we are the FANG engineers, the product company engineers, or we are the Zomato, Zepto delivery guys. There's no in between. There's no izzat. There's no respect for the middle crowd. That is something which is actually killing us more than AI, but that's another topic for another day. But I think that's where the opportunity lies for us. The handlers we would need for programming after 3, 4, 5 years is where a lot of work will again come back to India. And a lot of people said, you would not need coders. Why would Microsoft hire more coders? Why would Google hire more coders? I'll come to that as well. Few experts will build the core systems. This we talked about. Companies won't stop at good enough. See, this has happened again and again. The more we did better, got better at coding, the more features we came up with. The more our hardwares became capable, the better our apps became. Now, some people can call it software bloat. I, from a software perspective, I call it you are getting more bang out of the buck, right? So it's not like, it's again, I have seen this, like I'm in industry from 15 years. I look very young, don't think that I'm very young. But I have been here for 15 years. I have seen this transition from React, like when React and Angular came and people were like, oh my God, now, web development is so difficult, this, that, but this jQuery mess is going away. It all looks so clean. And it just created more and more demand of web developers. It created more and more demands of sophisticated UI. So much so that, I don't know how many of you know this, but some of you, if you have used the very old crowd, so people have used the old Outlook, right? Outlook on desktop. That was completely written in C++. And then in my team at Microsoft, we wrote that complete old Outlook into a new Outlook using React. So because it came up with so many good effects that we had to do that shift. So many a times when a new technology comes in, we feel that, this is too good. We don't need people. But the big cos, the Googles and the Microsoft and the Facebooks of the world are not in the money-saving business, right? So AI, good. Microsoft is not in the money-saving business. Microsoft, and I'm using Microsoft just as a placeholder because I come from it. I relate to Microsoft a lot. But it stays true for any company. Companies are not out there to save money. Companies are out there to make more money. And if building new feature becomes easier, the race will be to the bottom. Everybody will have more features because you don't, I'm sorry, when I say you don't know, I'm not trying to say you don't know. But a lot of people don't know how cash-strapped teams are even inside big companies. Like there are 6 engineers or 10 engineers working on such a big feature and the PM wants 10 more features to be built in and we say, no, come on, work-life balance, bro. So that goes away, we build more features. So I personally, even though at one point I see AI growing a lot, I don't see companies cutting cost. Instead, companies would make more money by hiring more of these engineers, these handlers. And that's where I think our opportunity is, because what AI can't do is this long-term maintainable code, these edge cases, this business need, how will this module interact to the different module? Like, for an example, you know that when a new Windows comes in, it has to be compliant to the Windows which used to run software even 25 years back. Because so many enterprises depend on it, that they have their own intranet software written on Windows, you can't break it. So anything which you do has to be, like when I was working with, Word and PPT, the whole, we call it WPE suite, the Word, PowerPoint, Excel suite. There were so many backward compatibility issues, so many, we can't break things. We can't write things from new because it would break a lot of internet stuff. So these edge cases, this security, this compliance, these are the things where a lot of the engineers will go because we'll build more features, we'll need more of this. And that's why I'm saying software handlers are the key. They would debug the AI generated code, integrate it, they would keep quality under control. Uh, Again, factories need operators. Even though autopilots came, pilots are still there. And same would happen with AI. More software, more engineers, same point again and again. AI is not a replacement, talked about it. The world won't need fewer programmers, we'll need better ones. Now coming to, I think, the main point. What does it mean for India? And thank God I have time because I did not practice this. So, what does it mean for India? This is a very, very important question, at least in my mind. The reason I left my job at Microsoft was to build something for India, to make the country richer. So I keep thinking about this question, and I think if you have thoughts about it, please, let's talk about it as well. In your mind, what is India's biggest strength? So the economy report comes in, and what's India's biggest export? Anyone in the crowd, anyone wants to take a guess? What is our country's biggest export? Yes. The service sector, right? So out of around $800 billion, which what's your name, ma'am? Shalini. Thank you, Shalini, for that. So Shalini is right. Out of the $800 billion export we have done the last year, close to $300 billion we have done only and only for IT services. No Zomato, no Zepto, no export has been done from these companies. Export is being done from, and we all know, export adds real value to the economy. So that drives our economy. Answer is already given. And this money which is coming from outside is basically helping this Bangalore bubble grow. The Swiggy, the Zomato, the 10-minute delivery, the Zerodha. This money keeps India moving. We don't realize that this is the bigger game here when it comes to the country. And automation is coming. A lot of this IT services support work is more about and again, so when we were at Microsoft, we had a team with HCL who would do all the testing before the release, because deploying a developer to write all those bigger automated E2E tests or maintaining that would have been so much difficult. Nobody would want to do that actually also. So it was all given to we would call them vendors. So it was all given to the vendors to do that job. I think that is the bigger risk here. The bigger risk is not programming. The bigger risk is people who don't know programming, who don't code, have had a bigger share of work, $300 billion export, that support job will shrink. Companies, because the cost of automation will go drastically down, companies will automate more, they will outsource less. So stock market, real estate, things which we care about at the top, all of those things will start shrinking down. And this means the middle class is at risk. If we have less support IT jobs, it means fewer manual jobs. Automation will cut non-coding roles. And that's where I think India's economic engine is in danger. That's the bigger threat, IMO, in my opinion. I could be wrong. So we have around 2-3 years. If we don't learn to code, and when I say we, I mean the entire IT sector, we get left behind. We need to understand systems and architecture now more than ever, because that is going to be a real job. The machine handlers know how the machines function end to end, how a car is getting assembled. They know their part, they know other parts. We don't have that kind of tech savviness built right now. We need to work on real production code so that we understand these issues upfront. And I'm honestly, like, when these folks reached out for a talk, I thought a lot about what should I talk about. And this is one problem which keeps me up at night many times, because if your job is just support or testing or things like that, I'm scared for you, because most likely those jobs are going to go away very soon. But there's hope. We have to produce, I'm not saying good, best, FANG level, DSA level engineers. No, that's not my thing. But people who can write code, real production code, who can understand business to code development. We need to shift from support to more building, from support to more development. And where you see an issue, you also see an opportunity. So this is also, I think, an opportunity for India. If we shift from coders, if we train coders at scale, we shift from operators to engineers, it could also be India's moment. Because if, and everything is an if in AI world, if there are more features needed, if coding becomes easier, then all that work should come to India. In my opinion, India should become the knowledge capital of the world. So all KPO works, thank you. Thank you so much. All KPO work, all services, all coding work should come to us. Think of a demography who is as young as we are, who is as hardworking as we are, who has the English advantage, and who has the population, and who has $1 equals to 85 rupees. And we don't need roads, we don't need ships, we don't need factories. Our factory is our laptop. Bangalore is amazing. Sit at your home, code the day out, ship, and not the manufacturing ship. Ship code. So this, what is a problem for the entire world, could be an opportunity for us, because we are ripe, ready for this. So that's all I had, I think. Thank you. That's all.